Please be seated, brothers and sisters. A very good morning to our brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Firstly, a very big thank you and our appreciation for you being here on a Sunday morning. Now, today we have Bhante Dr. G. Chandima Thera. He's from Canada, and a little bit about Dr. Chandima. Now, Bhante Dr. Gangadovila Chandima is the Associate Editor of the Journal of International Buddhist Studies, which is published by the Buddhist Research Institute of Mahachulalongkorn Rajavidyalaya University in Thailand. He was previously a research fellow at the Center for Studies in Religion and Society, University of Victoria, Canada. Now, Bhante Dr. Chandima was also the Theravada Buddhist chaplain at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada from 2012 to 2016. Bhante is currently the senior advisor to Pati Sota, a virtual Dhamma organization that hosts a weekly online Pali reading class, Sutta discussions, Dhamma talks, and a variety of other Dhamma activities. Now, his Dhamma works can be accessed via a blog spot, which we can share after the talk, yeah? And this talk that we are having this morning is under the Dhamma Dana series, whereby learned monks are invited here under devotees' generous sponsorship to continue the propagation of Buddhism. So without further ado, we would like to invite Bhante Dr. Chandima to give his talk on the topic abstaining from taking what is not given. Bhante, over to you.
Thank you, Sister Malini. Let's pay respect to the Buddha 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa. Good morning, everybody. It was a bit late today, so planning to wrap this up by 11 because there's another event going on, just to accommodate time and then other things. Our topic for today is the second precept in the 5 precepts. I think I described to all of you about Sila last week, first Sunday talk that I gave. During that talk, I described what Sila means to be. Actually, what is Sila? Let me ask the question again. What is Sila? I normally ask questions during even a talk, not only even in discussions. Sila, Pancha Sila, Atta Sila, whatever the Silas are. What does Sila mean to you? Conduct. Mm-hmm. Others? What does Sila mean? S, long E, long I, L A. Conduct of verbal behavior, mental behavior, and then physical behavior. Mm-hmm. Others? No ideas? So Sila basically is not new to Buddhism because it was being practiced by other religions even before the Buddha. Hinduism, Jainism, they had a very extreme Sila. So Buddha says the Buddhist Sila is being done with wisdom. Without wisdom, do not practice Sila. Why is it? If you do not have certain level of wisdom and then you're going to practice Sila, you will get ended up with extreme levels of sila, right? And then we have an example for that. What is it? Atta kilamatanu yoga, which the Buddha said to us to give up. Extreme sila is not good, because sila is not a standalone practice. It is not the only practice. It is the starting practice. I would say, entering point into the path. So you should not end up in there. But a lot of people, they unknowingly end up in sila, which does not help them to practice samadhi and panya. It is a problem. Sila in the Theravada Buddhism means, I would say, the practice of calming down your body and mind, right? So you behave well with your body and speech. Does sila help your mind too? It will eventually, but not at the time. When you go to meditate, then if disturbing thoughts come up, then what will happen to you? You can't do the meditation. So for those people who want to meditate, they should practice some sila before, definitely. So out of the different types of silas, we understand the 5 precepts. They are the basic silas. They are not even in Buddhism. They were there even before the Buddha's time. It's not only innovative, creative in Buddhism. So the second precept out of these 5 is, what is it called? Adinnādāna Veramani. Adinnādāna Veramani. How do we separate this word? Adinnādāna. There's A. Then Dinna, D-I-N-N-A. And then Dana, you know these words, Dana at the end. D long A N A. Let's say we're going to separate plus then Dinna plus Dana. Dinna Dana. That's how we're going to separate that. Now the meaning will be like this. In Pali means no, negative. Kusala preceded by A, akusala. That means not good ones. They are not kusalas, they are akusalas. Right? Then what are the other examples when you see when there is A before any Pali word? Can you remember any Pali words like that? Yeah, we just said about it. Kusala, akusala. When you add A before kusala, it will become akusala. And then anicca, very wonderful words. Nicca is permanent. Nicca, which is preceded by A, anicca, impermanent. Good example. What else? There is a small grammatical thing happening over there. Atta, then preceded by A, it doesn't become atta. So there is a substitution happens in Pali. We call anatta. That A become A-N-A, anatta, right? There is a substitution happens with that Pali word. It's not simply A. A is primarily A, but when it is combined in Pali, there is a rule that everything has to be euphonic for the easy pronunciation, because Pali did not come by writing for many centuries. Pali came down to us through oral tradition. So monks were looking for the easiest possible way to bring this from other monks. Writing happened in Sri Lanka long after that, probably first century, I guess. So 600 years it came down to us as oral tradition. Anicca, nicca, akusala, kusala, then anatta, atta. So definitely there is that difference. So adinnādāna is the same thing. means no or negative. Then dinna. Dinna means it's a past participle in language. Dinna means given. Not given, then not given. A means not. Then dinna, given. Not given. Then what has not been given? Dana. Dana has not been given to you. That means somebody has not given that particular item, thing to you. So that means second precept was given in the format of a dana. That means there is something that was not given to you as in the form of a dana, but you are going to take it. So abstaining from what's not given. That is adinadana. Bigger meaning is bigger. We have to talk about the bigger meaning, not just the rule based one. When you talk about the rule is given just to mark the boundary, right? Now we want to mark the boundary. Even the animals also mark their boundaries, right? When you bring your cat to a new property, if the cat feels that this is my new house, he is going to mark the property on all four corners. He is doing something. I think you know that. He does it. If another cat is coming that way, he is going to chase them out. Boundary is important. We have to make boundaries. The precepts are boundaries. Sila is not a boundary. That's interesting. Sila is the bigger topic. When somebody wants to practice Sila, they need to have some boundaries. Otherwise, they don't know where is my boundary in the Sila. They are called Sikha, precepts. They are called precepts. So, virtue or Sila and Sikha, they are two different things. You need Sikha to mark your boundary in your ethical behavior. Alright, so let's talk about different types of adinadana forms, right? Now I have, I would say, marked down 7 types of adinadana, things that you might perhaps know or maybe not know. The first one is the most blatant type of adinadana, involving threats of force, I would say daylight robberies, extortion, purse snatching, kidnapping. These are actually very blatant type of, very forceful type of adinadana, which happens everywhere in the world, more or less, right? Don't need to name places, but you know that there are a lot of terrible, horrendous, stealing things happening, and you be pickpocketed, you be kidnapped, you be probably robbed in broad daylight. These things happen. So that is the highest form of adinadana, terrible form of adinadana. And we are now narrowing down to other levels of adinadana. The second type is stealing or secretly taking the article without the owner's knowledge, such as housebreaking, burglary, and sometimes pickpocketing. Pickpocketing is being done without your notice. This is done without any notice to the owner. Burglaries, breakings, I would say even pickpocketing. Right? This is the second level of adinadana. Third is fraud, laying false claims, especially people do that for insurance claims, right? And cheating by confidence tricksters to gain someone's possessions. What about scammers? Are there scammers online? Oh, they are operate you all the time, 24 hours. Fraud, I would say sometimes they blackmail you. They ask your pictures. They ask you videos. Turn the video on, right? And then you get blackmailed. And they say they're going to share everywhere on the internet. You get scared. They're asking you money. What is this? Adinadana. Scammers. Fourth, deceit, when dishonest traders cheat their customers by false weights and measures or supply products of lower quality than specified. This is in the corporate, I would say, trade industry, in the shops, right? This could happen. Probably they say different things. They say this is a good product, but it is not, by quantity and by quality, right? So that is another type of adinadana, because people pay for that product, right? And they say this is natural product, this is Ayurvedic product, right? This is used by those people. This has been in somewhere you can't even get access to. This is from Himalayas. Huh? Oh, really? This was used by Buddha and those arahants too sometimes, you know. So people get overwhelmed. Okay, I'm going to buy it. Fourth one. The fifth one is forgery, when people pass counterfeit money as real or self-counterfeit gold and jewelry. Money, fake money. Even sometimes digitized money like bitcoins, crypto, and those things. People show a different picture, but it's not a reliable market sometimes. And the sixth type is, it's very common, this happens probably at workplace, where employees take small items from their company for their own use without paying for it, right? Maybe a piece of paper, maybe a pen, maybe an eraser, maybe printouts, right? So all these are adinadana, right? So these are 6 main types of, I would say, stealing, adinadana, taking what's not given. The 7th one is, what about glitches, technical glitches in the system, right? Sometimes I would say they cheat on you in the market industry. You're gonna buy something, but then there was a glitch, but you bought it, but they are not going to return that product after that. So these are massive ways of, I would say, bigger ways of looking at adinadana. But adinadana can go into our personal life more than these 7 too. Everybody who breaks this precept, adinadana, may start from a personal level and then go into the society to do the different types of adinadana. Now, the Buddha says adinadana is the precept wherein you break all the other precepts. Now, panatipata, let's say you break the first precept, it does not have a lot of bearing on other precepts. It might not have, yes, it has adinadana because you kill someone that is not belong to you, and especially if that person is related to you, you cannot do it because life is belong to that person. Even you are married, unmarried, you are related, so you can't take anybody's life. And it could be from kamasumichachara to misbehaving, and then you may lie to the law enforcement, and you may kill somebody out of suramere. But if you see adinadana, it directly relates to the rest of the precepts. How? When you break the first precept, when you kill someone, exactly it is adinadana. It's not, he or she is not yours. That being is not yours. Even you think that it's yours, or he or she is yours, but we know every being is belong to that particular being, sentient being. Then adinadana. Kamasumichachara is definitely we are running into unnecessary pleasures. There are necessary pleasures. Buddhism is not a teaching that prohibits people of enjoying the right pleasures. I think some of the speakers, they misunderstand and they propagate this idea. You have to get away from all karmas. You can't do that. It's not going to work too. Even we have Dhamma karma. We have karma for Dhamma also, right? Learn Dhamma, right? So, musavada, definitely when you lie to somebody, what you do is that you take that person's confidence away, that person's trust away. Suramere also the same. So that means most of the precepts are interrelated. So we have to understand how do we know the bigger picture? How do we identify the bigger picture of adinadana? Let me ask you, how do you think about adinadana in your personal life? Anybody here? What do you think about it, and how do you think that this is how I'm going to do to avoid breaking adinadana? Anybody? consciously. Okay, we can avoid it consciously. That means, do we unconsciously steal? Sometimes. Non-intent stealing. Let's talk about it a little bit. Interesting, huh? What are the examples that you may think about? Non-intent stealing. Non-intent adinadana. Let's say you are using other person's, I would say, utilities, right? It's not yours. You're not paying the bills, but you are not concerned about the waste. Sometime, let's say you are not concerned about the what you call unnecessary use of electricity, probably power, yeah, probably water, right? So you are concerned because when you misuse it, you are letting somebody to pay that you are not going to pay for it. That means you are letting someone to pay for it. That money is not yours, right? So that is one small example. So if you are under somebody, then you have to be very concerned about that I'm not taking that person's money other than the stipulated discuss level of that thing. That's a very conscious way. One of the very conscious ways to think about adinadana in your personal life. What else? Do you sometimes take other people's stuff accidentally? Now, consciousness is very important. Let's say, okay, let's say that you are walking on the street and $10 bill was dropped down, right, by somebody. And then more than that you want to look for the owner, you are thinking somebody else come and pick it up before me, right? I mean, you might not do that, most people. It is not that you want to return it to someone. Maybe you ask, was there somebody like this? Maybe there's a lost and found box or something. Okay, maybe somebody will be coming and pick it up before me. So I gotta get it before they come, right? So then that consciousness is not there. This is not mine, right? $10 is not a big thing. It could be $100, maybe $1,000, but whatever the amount it is not that you want to grab it. Your consciousness says that I'm not going to take it to me. It was not given to me. That's the bottom line. The dollar bill was not given to me. That particular item was not given to me. So I should not own it, rather than I'm going to do the right thing. The right thing is bring it to the, yeah. But there may be occasions where you don't find anybody. What would you do? You're on the road, you see some couple $100 on the road, you don't see anybody, what would you do? You have to first look for any owner, right? Possible owner coming up. Some people, they return back, right? And do something appropriate. And then if not, but your mind is saying to you that I'm not going to use it because it's not my money. Because that person is being very sad at that point. My money. That sadness can be a curse to us, right? It's like what happens to politicians when people are very frustrated about the tax, right? They are trying to curse politicians. They are not doing enough for us, right? They are taking all our money, right? And that can really go. It is what you do by chanting, right? You might think that, you definitely think, chanting alone and chanting as a group, which one is more powerful? Let's say one person is chanting that may I be this and that. That is what we are supposed to do all the time, because we can't get other people to us all the time. But what if that 100 people or 20 people or 100 people chant for the same purpose? May that particular person be well and happy. Which one is more powerful? That every human being is thinking one purpose. That can be more powerful, right? Depends on the people there, right? They might be immoral people, bad people. There may be only one person who is chanting very well, because chanting goes well not because of the chanting, but because of the people who are chanting, right? Even when you give a chanting book to a drug dealer, he will also chant. Why not? He will chant. It's in English. Will that cause any blessing? Yeah, there is some blessing. Blessings of just reading that chanting. But not those real thoughts. The Buddha says when monks are supposed to chant, they have to chant with lots of kindness, compassion towards that particular cause. Otherwise, it might not work. Right? Anyway, so there is non-intent stealing, but we can avoid it if we have a good consciousness that always you have to maintain, I'm not going to own anything that is not given to me. Actually, that is the meaning of the precept. Dinna dana. Dana was not given to me. So why do I want to own it? That's the bottom line. Then there are other small questions before the time runs out. I'm going to read. These are interesting questions. Is it possible to steal accidentally? Is it possible? It may be. It may be. That is why we have to maintain our good consciousness all the time, moral consciousness. I'm very shy. I have a moral fear. Not even the next life, but also this life. When my consciousness is taken away, I can't be a good person anymore. So I have to maintain that moral consciousness. It's a good thing. It's not because there is somebody watching over me. It is because I have to be honest to myself. That is the greatest support that you can have in your life for anything. You don't need to have any, I would say, authority or anything from other people. Other people may change over time. They may change, they may not change. But if you are honest to yourself, things will really get by. And things will happen to you immensely, profusely. All the blessings come to you because you are honest to you. That honesty comes from a very good consciousness. I'm not doing such things. I'm doing all the good things. Right? So, there may be times, but you try to make up your mind, I'm not going to do that. You have to come up with virya. What is virya? Energy, and effort, right effort. We have to have right effort. Now, when we talk about this virya energy in the Western society, North American context, they look at it differently, because in North American society, they talk about virya as one of the fundamental things in the workforce. Yeah, we hardworking people, hardworking. Right? So we have to say, well, that's for a work purpose. Here, virya only to proceed to the path. We don't take it overdoing, like hardworking, right? It is for your work purpose. It is for material gains. But for the Dhamma path, you have a purpose for virya. Your purpose is to navigate the path. You need virya only to that extent. That's why the Buddha says, do not take any good virtue separately. Even mindfulness, sati. But what is unfortunately happening? People always try to take virtues separately. Then what happens? They get stuck. They really get stuck. They get stagnated. Why? Buddhist path is a combination of the practice. It is an integrated practice altogether. Can you only go with dana to attain nibbana? Is it possible to attain nibbana with only dana? No. Sila. You also need sila. You also need nekkhamma. You also need panya. Virya, energy, effort. Then you need kanti, patience. And then you need satcha. You have to be truthful all the time. You have to have aditthana, resolutions. You have to have enormous level of loving kindness, metta. You should have upekka, the highest quality in Buddhism. What is the highest quality in Buddhism? Upekka. Equanimity. Could be a bad translation. I would say you are not moved by happiness or unhappiness. You are in the middle. You understand happiness, you also understand unhappiness. But you are not moved by them. What happens to many when they are very happy? They cannot be patient in that happiness. That's why a lot of people say when somebody achieves something, now try to practice patience. This happens exactly when a new driver earn his or her license today. What is the instructor normally instructing? Let's say his private instructor, driving instructor, goes with him or her to the driver's license office. Now there is the supervisor who is checking. So now the instructor is waiting in the driver's license office. Now the new person is going with that supervisor for the test. Now he passes the test after he or she. But once he or she comes back after passing, normally it is normal that a lot of instructors do not give the key to the new driver. Why is it? He is overwhelmed. He is moved by happiness. Give it to me. I will drop you. Why? When you are too much happy, you're going to enter into a dangerous space. You are too immature because of your happiness today. Same thing. Right? It is the same thing. So then, upekha. So that's why you cannot proceed the path only with dana or sila or with other small virtues. Everything has to be practiced. All right. So we have to have a good consciousness to maintain our what you call fallibility, like the probability of making a bad karma. Do not make mistakes. If you make a mistake, that might be a problem. But there may be mistakes, but maybe slight mistakes, not big mistakes like these 5 mostly. All right. Another question is, why do we get a thought of stealing? It is because we have not developed our mind. Right? Some people always get thoughts of stealing, right? Why is it? They have not cultivated their mind. In what? Alobha, dosa, moha. Dana, metta, then panya. Where have they developed their mind a lot? Lobha, dosa, moha. So they come up with lots of stealing thoughts. So that means you have to always develop alobha, dana thoughts, adosa and amoha thoughts. Because when you develop dana thoughts, can you go and take other people's dana? You cannot. You can't do that. All right. So, well, any questions from your side about adinadana, second precept? Yeah, please. Okay. Fed. Mm-hmm. 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 Yes. That's a very interesting question, and we have to look at it both the Buddhism side and the legal side. Now, one of the courts in Italy, I think 4 years ago, there was a case. A poor person stole some amount of food, maybe a tin of sardine, and couple of things from a supermarket. Then he was, I think, detained till the case is going to be finalized. Then the judge said it is okay. So poor people, it doesn't say poor people can steal, but this kind of a situation says a humanitarian thing, that he stole only some amount of, little amount of milk cartoon, and then tin of sardine, some stuff. Well, I mean, here's the thing. I think then we go back to the society, the welfare of the society. The Buddha says in many suttas, the governments always have to take care of the poor people, right? And this is the case. So when they are not being taken care of very well, there is a flip side. Crimes can happen from their side, right? Because you can't go and feed everybody, right? We all cannot go and feed all these poor people, right? But they have to survive also. Sometimes most of the crimes that we see, they come from these people, right? If you see some of the countries where the criminals are operating a lot, they may be for the poverty. So poverty is not being taken care. Probably some of the politicians think when people are poor, they listen to them very well. They can cheat on people, right? But they have enormous expenses towards other things, unnecessary projects, right? So I think in that case, a good idea is to tell those people who govern the countries to think about welfare, because Buddha said that. The Buddha said in a sutta called Kuta Danta. I always tell that in some of the places. There is a question somebody asked from the Buddha, how to minimize crimes in a country. Then the Buddha said, you need to make people economical in the country. How to do that? If the farmers need crops, seeds, government has to give away, right? And then if you cannot make poor people economical in a sort of time, then at least to give some subsidiary stuff. So you can minimize the problem till you get to a larger point. But if you ask me that question very straight, is it okay to steal from supermarkets even by somebody who is so poor? I would say no, because that will lead to other issues. Sometimes this is a very risky thing. He or she might be assaulted by the supermarket people. Sometimes most of the laws are not amended to think about their compassion, their issues. So it's a problem, right? And have you also seen people who don't know even, who are not doing that, but they are dying themselves in their houses without any food? So these are very extreme, terrible issues that I think the larger society has to think about, not even the governments, even these NGOs and all these people. So the Buddha says, killing is not accepted in whatever the context. And adinadana, stealing, is not accepted. And all these 5 precepts, the wrong side of them are not accepted in whatever the cause. Because you look at it from the modern life, but it was given from a life of sansara. Because when you are going to end your sansara, these things will be problems. So we have to find out solutions from within the society. That is the way. All right. So that is what I can think about it, And plus, when we encourage anybody, you can steal even small amounts, he or she will not stop doing it in 1 or 2 places, right? He or she will keep doing it, and finally maybe get shot, maybe get assaulted. A lot of things can happen. So spiritually not accepted.
My question is not about we all know that he's breaking the law.
Yes.
My question is the cost and impact of it more than anything else. Is there?
You mean spiritually? Yeah, spiritually, well, it depends. Let's say that somebody is going to take a very expensive thing from somebody, right? So the person who owns that is very much sad about it. That can come in the form of a curse to you one day, maybe in your one of the next lives. But let's say some cookies, milk cartoon, these are not very much important stuff, like very expensive stuff. The karma will be small. The karma of that karma vipaka, the result of that karma will be small. And plus the intention is to get it, not to steal it in that sense, maybe to steal it, but just to feed for a bigger cause. Maybe she has children or whatever. Yes. But still the overall action cannot be justified. That's the thing. Right? So that is what we have to understand. The overall action is not good. That's why this society, we have to talk about it. Now a lot of people talk about feminism, human rights. Why don't people talk about these things? They only talk about what they don't have, their rights. We don't talk about responsibilities, isn't it? Do we talk about that much? No. Because we always think we do responsibilities very well. This is an issue. I think everybody has a role for this. Even a monk, even who doesn't do a job as a monk, even he has a way. He can persuade people to think about this side, right? Sorry? That is another way. Yes. Then people, yeah. So a lot of people have turned to begging, right? Yes. Panhandling, right? Well, I mean, that's a good concern actually, very good concern, that you're thinking about somebody's real issue, that he or she may not be able to do it. And other people do other things too, drug dealing, prostitution, like people turn to a lot of things, stealing, and some people don't do any of those things. They only do begging. Yeah, it's better than that. So let's play our role and see whether we can change the society one day. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. There are a lot of such stories. I would say we as Buddhists, we are talking as Buddhists, we have to develop a consciousness where we do not possess other people's stuff. And there are issues, there may be some exceptions, but none of the exceptions should break the precept. I would say break that boundary. I would say that boundary should not be broken, because it is not good. Somebody is to suffer. Let's say even that poor person is going to steal something every day, then what will happen to that owner of the shop? He will be in trouble, she will be in trouble too, right? They are just going in a profit margin, right? In a very minimal profit margin, and he won't be able to pay the salaries of the employees over there, and then a lot of things can happen. But if like everybody is going to do the same thing everywhere across the country, how come the food chain, supermarkets, shops going to survive? It's going to be a big problem. So I think that idea, even though it's a very compassionate way that was coming out, but there are issues. If you go to Philippines, I think these young kids, they are always coming to supermarkets. If you go to Mexico, you see that parents want to migrate, looking for asylum in the US, and they send in their kids to the boundary, to the border. So the immigration and the police cannot do anything, rather than, because they are bounded by laws. So people misuse, in the name of poverty and compassion. So we have to look at all these things too, and then to make a happy place for everybody, right? Looking at all these small things. All right. So Adinadana, we already talked about different aspects, and our idea, not my personal idea, the Buddha's idea is that never ever take other people's stuff. What if that there's a married couple, somebody is going to make a connection to the man or the wife, and then they are going to separate at a certain point. They are a good couple. They had no problems too. And then what will happen? This will also lead to adinadana. I mean, in the next life, your marriage will be broken, because you took other person's dearly person. So all they come after us, right? So I think it is very interesting to look at it from a bigger picture, not like you go and then take somebody's stuff. Look at it from a very bigger picture, not just limiting to the literal meaning of adinadana, right? It may be public things, it may be other people's stuff, it may be my thinking. What about academic stuff? You copy somebody's information, you paste like yours. Plagiarism. Now they are tracking, but some people still keep doing that. So it is also adinadana, right? All right. So if stealing has become a habit to somebody, think about that habit comes from a grip of adhering to the lobha dosa moha. So you have to break that grip, right? Maybe it comes from your environment. Maybe it comes from your maybe it is sometimes generational also. Now they have found the wounds in your generations can be generational. Your father may be dealing with something in his life that may pass down to children, like the war in some countries, right? So when you take the war, there are a lot of people who were affected by the war, right? Most of them cannot heal themselves. They keep thinking about what happened and that, those diminished memories. So it can pass down to other people. So let's say if parents or other people played a role in stealing, it might affect definitely their next generations, and then the environment. So we have to understand these two things are very crucial. So we have to be very careful. And what we want is that have a free mind to think about, I'm not going to do anything that will take other people's stuff, items, people, anything, right? Even a good reputation. Some people are not doing anything behind the scene, but there are other people who are working for that. But then they come and say, okay, I'm the one who did that. What is it called? You take other people's credit for you. Adinadana. It was not given to you. So Adinadana is a very bigger thing to think about. But unfortunately, people only think robberies, stealing is Adinadana. It goes to a very bigger perspective. Yes, because in Buddhism, karma is mental. It's not only physical. Yes. 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 You might do it because you don't want to pay it. You want to evade the payment of the software, right? Yes. That mind, that corrupted mind, that is the issue. That is the issue. It is not the software. Consciously, yes. Hmm. Even sometimes when people look for gossiping, they want to look at what are they doing? Unnecessary stuff. They were not given to you. You are breaching their privacy. Anything that you are breaching other people's privacy can be a sort of adinadana. It is mental because you don't need those information of other people, right? If you know all these aspects, the bigger aspects of adinadana, you will be a very peaceful person. But unfortunately, people do all these things and then go for a retreat thinking that I will get the peace. How you get the peace? Just by sitting down only. No, it is an ongoing journey. That ongoing journey starts from your house, from you. Whatever you do, you have to do with a moral consciousness. Otherwise, things really will going to be not working for you. All right, so any other question? We'll take one more minute because it's almost 11 and then we're going to transfer the minutes. Any questions about Adinadana, today's precept? Do you think that you learned something new about Adinadana? Do you think so? Okay, that is great. So how did the Buddha ask us to practice Adinadana? There's a sutta called Veludvareya Sutta, Sangyutta Nikaya 55:7. Let me read that. Having reflected thus, himself abstained from taking what's not given, and then exhorts others to abstain from taking what's not given, and speak in praise of abstinence from taking what's not given. Thus this bodily conduct of is purified in three respects. That means if you want to practice any precept, you have to do three things. Not only one thing. But now you know only one thing. Even that we talk about the moral consciousness, we only take it in one way. How are we supposed to practice it? We should first abstain from the precept. I would say Adinadana here. whatever other precept do. Second, if we can, we're going to persuade our nearby people, close people, our friends, families, if it is okay. Sometimes people don't accept what you say. We have to do that too, an impact. Third is, you are always talking about the importance of not stealing. Then only your precept going to be complete. Sangyutta Nikaya 55.7 Veludwara Sutta. That is a very good approach. So my advice to you is that do not try to advise people, because people don't like other people's advices in the first place. But if you think they are very close to you, you could bring this up in a nice way, friendly way, and then you could always spread the word of not stealing, the importance of not stealing. All right, that is how you're going to abstain from adinna dana. All right, any questions? Not so far. Okay, so because of the time issue, we're going to transfer the good karmas now. I think there is no particular devotee today, right? I didn't get a copy of that. Is there a copy? Any sponsors today? Okay, please give it to me. It's on your phone, right? I'll use it.